I don't know if you've noticed, but the theme park industry has been in somewhat of a renaissance for the better part of 15 years. Yeah, surprising news, I know. What a shock. When you look at the theme park industry now compared to, 30 years ago? It's amazing how far the industry has come. We are far past the days of small, mediocre attractions of yesteryear. Attractions that essentially cost pennies on the dollar compared to now. No, in today's climate, the only way a company can compete in this industry is by going all out. If a theme park wants guaranteed year-over-year attendance spikes, they have to construct lands. Not attractions, not individual rides, but lands. Themed areas that can take up an entire quadrant of the park that feature immersive, detailed, and story-driven theming. This has been the gold standard for amusement parks ever since 2010. I'm aware I've made this argument before, but it's so true. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter turned the entire industry on its head. Hogsmeade is what essentially jump-started the theme park land. Which is a little unfair to say. I can't give all the credit to Universal, because technically, Disney front-loaded the idea of the theme park land. They were the original innovators of the theme park. If we go back in time, all the way back to 1955, during the days of Walt Disney, when he was debuting Disneyland, he made sure that each section of his park was different and unique from one another. He created Tomorrowland, a land based around the future and innovation, Frontierland, an area devoted to the past, and Adventureland, which was about the jungle or something. Disney, they've always adopted the use of theme park lands. It's a core part of their company. But Universal, they were arguably the first company to devote an entire land around a movie franchise. It all began once they opened Islands of Adventure. Each section of the park was themed to a book, with the exception of Jurassic Park, which was a book and a movie. And you know, Jurassic Park, it's fine, but the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, that's what put Universal on the map. Universal, they went all out on the theming, and when they saw the success of the Wizarding World, you better believe they expanded upon it, building Diagon Alley only a few years later, and then a third Harry Potter land coming later this year. Universal, they caught lightning in a bottle with the Wizarding World. They proved that you can build an entire land around a movie franchise as opposed to an idea, a culture, a philosophy. Not that there's anything wrong theming a land to one of those concepts. However, when I look at every theme park land in Florida, usually the movie-driven lands are my favorite. Of course, I would like Universal to build more lands that aren't entirely IP-based. Like Celestial Park going to Epic Universe, I would enjoy a few more lands like that. But if it works, why change anything? Universal, they haven't let me down yet. And I would say, for 95% certainty, that Universal, they are better at building theme park lands than Disney. My apologies, Bob Iger, I know this is a tough pill to swallow, but even after your most ambitious land ever, Star Wars, I would still take the Wizarding World and about half the lands at Epic Universe over this. Universal, they changed the game, they set the trend, and they built an entire theme park just to show off their success. Universal lands are just fundamentally better than Disney's. And if I had to list one reason why that is, I think it would come down to one simple detail: vibrancy. I believe that Universal lands, they simply feel more alive. There's more energy to them. And this vibrancy is going to be one of the main aspects to why every land at Epic Universe is going to overshadow Disney. Now, when I say vibrancy, I'm really referring to kinetic energy. Does the theme park land feel like it's coming to life? It's impressive enough when Universal or Disney, they build a new theme park land. There's a lot of time and effort, blood, sweat, and tears that go into these projects. And there's a reason why each of these lands cost hundreds of millions of dollars. They have to make it look like they're pulled straight from the movies. And that's great, that's awesome. But I don't want these lands to feel static. I would prefer to walk around these lands and watch things happen. I want to see objects move. I want there to be sound. I want an unexpected surprise to occur out of nowhere. If you've ever been to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, specifically Diagon Alley, then you know what I'm talking about. If you look around in any direction, you'll see some kind of motion happening right before your eyes. Whether it's the massive man standing in the shop tipping his hat to you, or the random trinkets in the shop going haywire. Of course, I don't know what any of this stuff means because I'm not too familiar with Harry Potter, but that doesn't really matter. Everything in the land is just visually impressive, even if it's something as simple as needles hovering in the air knitting a scarf. Universal, they could have easily restricted the budget to the architecture of Diagon Alley, but they decided to go the extra mile by installing all these little details and kinetic elements to make the area feel energetic. I've been to Diagon Alley on multiple occasions, and I would never say that I'm bored of this area. You could easily walk around the whole land in maybe 3 minutes. Yet, every single time I visit Diagon Alley, I'm probably spending a good 30 minutes just looking around. Diagon Alley has so many oddities and kinetic elements that it makes the land feel like more of a walkthrough attraction. One of the best things about Diagon Alley is its play feature. If you wanted to, you could buy a wand for $100 and you can wave it around and make the land come to life. Every single wand sold at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter has a play function, so you can interact with the Wizarding World. Even if you don't want to buy a wand, you can just watch other people have fun and still have a good time. That's what I mean by vibrancy. I love the kinetic elements of Diagon Alley. And if all the small and tucked away details aren't enough, look at the giant fire-breathing dragon that oversees the entire area. That thing breathes fire every 10 to 20 minutes, and everyone in the land, they crowd around just to see it. It's like a little 1-minute show that you can view right before you get in line for Gringotts. Small details like this can leave a lasting impression. It makes the land feel more vibrant and worthy of my attention. And I'm so happy that Universal, they're taking these kinetic principles and applying it to their newer theme park lands, because each and every one of Epic Universe's lands are going to have some kind of vibrancy to them. I think the biggest example of this is Super Nintendo World, where literally every object in that land is moving. You got coins spinning upon a mountaintop, platforms oscillating back and forth, Goombas running on a log, and a bunch of other characters running around that I don't even know the names of. Sure, most of this is limited range motion, but it all feels dynamic. Everything feels like it's pulled straight from a Nintendo game, which is kind of the point. Nothing is static, everything is moving, and that's what I love to see. And if not for Super Nintendo World, there's also the Dark Universe with the burning windmill. This is probably the coolest effect going to Epic Universe. They could have just had the windmill turning, and that probably would have been enough. But no, every 20 minutes, it's gonna be lit on fire and set ablaze. Again, it's one of those visual spectacles that people are gonna crowd around just to witness. Universal, they made each and every one of these lands feel like individual attractions that stand on their own merit. You're not just walking through these lands to get to a ride. Instead, you're gonna walk, you're gonna stop, and you're gonna take it all in. If there's a windmill that lights on fire out of nowhere, you're gonna pause for a few seconds to see what's happening. Little details like this is why I love Universal. But not to completely disregard Disney, they do have kinetic elements in their lands that I enjoy. For one, Star Wars Land, I do like to peruse Dakondar's Den of Antiquities and witness the animatronic at the counter. Or the random droid that's pumping along and turning the turkey, or whatever this mystery meat is. Or this inconspicuous alien that's hiding near a drinking fountain that if you blink, you'll miss it. Disney did pretty good with the vibrancy in Star Wars Land, but they did even better with Pandora: The World of Avatar. This land doesn't have much motion to it. Most of the land's vibrancy comes from water falling off the floating mountains. The real visual spectacle comes at night when the entire land lights up. It's a different kind of vibrancy through the land's bioluminescent display. Other than Star Wars and Pandora: The World of Avatar, most of the other lands at the Walt Disney World Resort don't have any kinetic elements. For one, Toy Story Land, a lot of that section is just oversized toys. That's not a bad thing, I would just prefer that everything doesn't look so stationary. There isn't much kinetic energy in Toy Story Land, besides the roller coaster. I do, however, like that each character in Toy Story Land has a voice box, so when you're walking by, you can hear each character say a quote.
Buzz, look, an alien! Where? Ah!
Disney, they're not awful with dynamic elements. Far from it, actually. It's just I can pull a lot more examples from Universal where there's some kind of motion or effect or mechanism in the land that adds to the overall atmosphere. Small details are what I appreciate the most at theme parks. And lands like the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, they have some of the most intricate and detailed examples of vibrancy. And I'm so happy that Universal, they're taking what they learned from the Wizarding World and they're bringing it to Epic Universe. Because even though these kinetic elements seem small and minute in the grand scheme of things, trust me, they really add to the overall experience. And when Epic Universe opens and I eventually go, I can't wait to walk around, pause, and take it all in.